Hello students, my name is Allcbts and I'm here to take you mathematics for today. The topic under our mathematics is indices or powers. Now, at the end of today's lessons, you should be able to simplify expression involving indices. Number two, you should use the rule of indices to simplify expression involving indices. The number three lesson objective, you should use negative and fractional indices. So I want you to get your writing materials down. Welcome back. Now let's move on. As I've said earlier, our topic for today is indices. Now, for you to understand this topic, there are some rules guiding this. So we term it as laws of indices. So now, law one. Now, before going to the laws, now let's explain what indices simply means. Indices means the number your base multiplied itself. But I'm trying to say that this index is going to be in this form. You have something like 3 raised to power a. Now, this 3 is known as the base, while this a is known as the power. We can also call it index. Now, so once you have something like this, then you should know that typically this question is an indices question because it has a base and a power. So that leads us to the laws of indices as I've earlier stated. Now, law 1. Now, if you have a raised to power m multiplied by a raised to power n. Now, if you are taking or solving questions on indices, there are some things you have to take notice of. Now, the first thing you have to take notice of is your base. Your base. As you know that the number below is known as your base. Now, once you see that your base are the same, then you can apply the law of indices. So for this now, if you want to apply the law of indices, which we know as law 1, it will be a, this is a m. Now, what our law 1 is trying to tell us is that our multiplication sign will turn to addition sign. So that means I have a, they are the same base, I picked one, a, then this is my m. My multiplication sign, as I've told you earlier, that is going to turn to addition, then the other power. So now law 1 has been what? Has been proven. In a nutshell, law 1 is trying to tell us that our multiplication sign will change to addition sign. Then our base must be the same for we to be able to use our laws of indices. Take notice, your base must be the same. Now we move on to law 2. What's law 2? You have a raised to power m divided by a raised to power n. Now, if you take notice, you see that the base are the same. So we are meant to what? Pick one. Once that has been done, you continue. This is your power or index m. You write it. Now, this division sign in law 2 is going to change to subtraction sign. So that means our division sign now is going to change to what? Subtraction sign. Then write your other words. Power. That's law 2. Now, law 3 tells us that
Hi, if you are preparing for an exam, this channel is for you. We have loads of content for you, which we'll be releasing in coming days and weeks. Make sure you like this channel and subscribe to this channel, such that as soon as we are releasing those videos, you'll be notified by YouTube and you can have success all in one sitting.
L2 raised to power 0 will give us what? 1. Any numbers, irrespective of the numbers, except if it is not a negative number. But if it is a negative number, you can convert it to give us 1. It must happen when your number is positive. So L2 raised to power 0 will give us 1. Now, law 4 tells us that once we have anything raised to power negative, that means if your base is raised to power negative sign, then that means the negative automatically will lead us to 1 ln. Now this negative power will become 1 ln your quantity given to you, that's a raised to power what? 1. Now this negative sign here, take notice of this negative sign, has resulted to 1 ln a. Then I have my base a. Then I won't write this negative because automatically this negative has turned to 1 ln. I'm just left with my base and my power. So I have 1 ln a raised to power 1. Now law 5 tells us that if you have a base that is raised to power a fraction, now if you have this is a base through base a raised to power 3 ln 2. Now there is a base with a fractional part. Now the first thing you have to do is the denominator. You have to identify your numerator and the denominator according to the idea of fraction. Now your numerator is 3, then your denominator is 2. Now your denominator of every part given to you will become the root of your base. So inversely, this 2 now will become the square root of a. Then I'm left with my numerator as the power. That's what the fractional law is trying to tell us. My denominator will become the root, since we know that this is 2, and if you want to turn 2 to make it a root, it will become square root. That's why I have this. So this is it. This is square root of your base, then raised to power your numerator. So this is the few laws of indices. Then the rest are just applicable. The way you use them is what matters the most. Now let's use this example to buttress the idea of laws of indices. So solutions to the examples. Now for number 1, we have 48 e raised to power minus 5 divided by 12 e raised to power minus 10. Now we have to take notice that we have the same base here, but let's follow the trend in which the question is given. So we pick 48 divided by 12. Now we have the same base. We can apply the laws of indices here. Now we have the same base, so we are going to pick 1. Now I have negative power minus 5. Now, as you all know in your law 2 that your division is going to change to subtraction sign, then at the other power here I have minus 10. So 12 here, 12 here, 1. 12 in 48 will give us 4. So I have 4, then I have e minus 5. Now, in our rule of sign, minus is going to open this bracket. So we have minus multiplied by minus will give us plus, then I have what, 10.
Hi, I know you're enjoying this video and would like to see related materials and content. We have loads and loads for you in stock. Make sure you like this channel, subscribe, hit the subscription button right now, and share with your friends and colleagues so that when next we release the next video, YouTube will notify you. Now let's get back to the class.
So I have 4E. Now I'm holding 5 naira and I have 10 naira. If I should subtract this 5 naira from 10 naira, I'm going to have what, 5 naira left. So this should be our final answer. Now, for example 2, this is a little bit complex, but it's simple to solve. Now, firstly, I have my theory. Now, let's solve this. Now, if you should look at it, I have theory divided by what? 9. I have a raised to power 3, and I have what? A raised to power 7. Now, from here, I can use my law of indices. So, don't forget, I have 3x raised to power what? 1. So, I'm going to have 3. Now, 3 divided by 9. 2 in 3, I have 1. All on 3 in 9, I have what? 3. Now, they are the same base. And don't forget, which sign is in between them? The division sign. So I'll pick one of the base, which is what? A. Then my first power is 3. As you all know, your division is going to change to what? Subtraction. Then I have what here? 7 times 3 x raised to power what? Minus 1. Now you have to take notice on which quantity the power is put on. Now if you look at it, this power, this negative power is upon x, not on 3. So x is the only ones that have this what? Negative power, in which the negative law will be used on. So let's continue. So here we have 3, open brackets, 1 all on 3. A, you are with 3 naira, you have 3 naira, you are only 7 naira. So you are left with what? Negative 4 multiplied by 3x raised to power what? Minus 1. So this is multiplication that holds these two quantities together. So 3 is going to cancel out 3. So you are left with a raised to power minus 4 multiplied by 3. Now let's use our negative law, which says that whenever we have negative as power, it's going to turn to 1 all on the quantity, the number itself. So I have what here? X raised to power what? 1. And this is over 1. This is over 1. But don't forget, this also has what? Negative power. Negative power. So we are going to also use the negative law, which states that 1 all on a raised to power 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 1 all on x. So this is over 1. So 1 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 1, I'm going to have it as 1 all on a raised to power 4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by x. I'm going to have it as a raised to power 4x. That's the solution to this answer. Now, let's move. Now, for example 3, we have 27 raised to power minus 2 over 3. Now, two laws will be applicable to this. That's your negative law and your fractional law. So let's take it one by one. For your negative law, you have it as 1 all on 27 raised to power 2 over 3. Then for your fractional law, I told you that you have to first of all identify your numerator and your denominator. Now in this question, your denominator is 3. So inversely is going to turn to 1. Then your 3 will become the what? Cube root of what? 27. Then raised to power what? Your square. So now, which is going to give us 1 Alan, what's the cube root of?
Hi, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you can do so in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And don't forget to hit the notification button.
27, that means the number you are going to multiply 3 times to give you 27. And what is the number? The number is 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. So what's in the bracket now has been simplified to 3. Then everything is raised to power 2. So you have it as 1. All on 3 square is what? 3 times 3, which will give you 1 over 9. That's the solution to this question. Then for the last part, we have this 9a squared all on 25. Everything is raised to the power of what? Negative half. So now there's a quick way of solving this. Now once you notice that you are given a negative power and your power is a fraction, now you can change this your negative power to your positive power without you not passing through the law of 1 all on the numbers itself. So once you see that your powers is fraction, you can easily change this negative sign to positive sign by changing the numbers inside the brackets. That means the denominator will turn to the numerator, then the numerator will return back to the denominator. So I'm going to have then 25 all on, and because my denominator has moved back to the numerator, then I'm going to have, as my denominator, I have 9 a raised to power 2. Then I won't have negative half. I'm going to have it as what? 1 over 2. Then using your fractional law, which says your denominator will always become the root of the number given to you. So here I'm going to have square root of 25 all on 9a squared. Then everything is raised to power your numerator here, which is 1. So let's get the final answer. What is square root of 25? You have it as 5. Then square root of your 9 is 3. Then square root of your a square is, you have something like this, a square. You should know that your square is going to cancel your what? Square root. So you are left with what? A. Everything is raised to power 1. So anything raised to power 1 is still the same answer. So the answers to this question is 5 all on 3 raised to power A. That is the final answer. You can try this as your assignment. This, and this. You can practice this as an assignment to get yourself better with, to get to know the laws of indices and how you can apply it. Hope you enjoyed today's class. See you in the next class, and don't forget to subscribe.